Hi everyone, Holly here from Artistic Cutworks and Artistic Threadworks. I hope you're enjoying our video series, and tonight we're doing Brother Scan and Cut, how to get a design into the software, out of the software, into the machine. Okay, I have to be honest with you. I watched a video to understand the differences between the deep cut blade and the standard blade, and the gal in the video had things mixed up. So she said that the purple blade was a standard blade. So when I was doing my test cutting today, I was using this for my test cutting, and things did not go well. They did not go well at all, and I became very, very frustrated. The standard blade is the turquoise blade. Turquoise blade. Now, the reason this could be a little bit confusing to y'all is the mat. If you look at the mat has a purple stripe, and that's the standard mat. So you might think, well, being a color coding kind of girl that I am, certainly the purple blade is the standard blade. No, that would be wrong. The turquoise blade is the standard blade. I made a bunch of cuts, and I want you to see what happens when you don't get it right. This is what happened. This one here pretty much cut through. All of these cut through. I finally got a sort of a decent cut on the pink. But I have to tell you that if you have a Brother Scan and Cut, you're going to need to do a little more work than the Cricut people and the Silhouette people. That's just the reality of it. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying that they are different. Okay? I'm saying they are different. If you have a Scan and Cut, you're going to need to learn how to do some things that the Cameo people and the Cricut people don't have to do. One is the Cameo and the Cricut have presets for where your settings go, and it sets it in the software for you, and it sends that to the machine, and it's all really cool, and it's all really easy, and it's all really fun. The Brother Scan and Cut does not. You need to change those settings in the machine after you send the design. There are no preset vinyl settings that you choose in the software that translates to the machine. There are no preset settings in the machine that you just say, oh, I'm going to cut vinyl here, let me see, and doing it at this point, give me my baseline, so to say. You don't have that. So you're going to do a little more tinkering with your settings than the Silhouette and the Cricut people. Okay, is that bad? No, it's different. Okay, it's different. And if you are a Scan and Cut person and you've always had Scan and Cut, this means nothing to you because this is how you've always done it. But I'm a Silhouette Cameo girl for the last 5 or 6 years. I'm used to having things kind of done for me. Okay, and Cricut is even easier. So I ran through some frustrations with this, and I don't think it would be fair of me to just say, hey, everything worked great for me on the Brother Scan and Cut, and it was awesome, because it really wasn't. It really wasn't, and you're going to experience these things, and I want you to know it's okay. I want you to know it's okay if you have these problems, because you're not alone. Lots of people are having these same issues, I promise you. But have a little heart, because in with your Brother Scan and Cut does come a quick reference guide. And in this reference guide, you have some information about mat selection, which mat to use for your project. And then it has some very, very general cut settings. Keep in mind with these cut settings, as with any of the machines, these cut settings are suggestions. You may be using a different vinyl than what they tested with and made these settings. I'm fortunate in that I have someone on my digitizing team that is an expert Scan and Cut person, and that's Karen McAdams. And I called her a while ago and said, help me, I'm not getting this. And she sent me this cool little graph that she had made her own little markings in and adjustments in, and that was awesome. But I can't give that to you because that doesn't belong to me. But what I can do is I can show you on my computer, after I plug it in, of course. Gotta love technology. There we are. I can show you here that this chart right here I downloaded from a website, and it has a pretty extensive, now it's raining a little bit so it might get noisy in here. It has a pretty extensive layout of what to use when and where to put your blades and all that kind of stuff, and it's a 2-page PDF. Okay, I can't give this to you because it doesn't belong to me. But what I can do is tell you to go to artisticcutworks.com and look for resources up on the top bar and click there. And tomorrow we're going to have some resources for you for cut settings that you can click those links and go to those websites and download their free stuff. I can't give them to you. That's against the law. But I can give you a link and send you there to get it on your own. Okay? So I think I have 3 resources for you. Go and get them, print them, have them out when you're doing your cutting. I promise you it's going to make life easier for you. Okay, so this, we don't need this. That's junk. Okay. So let's look at our mats. The mats are a little bit different than the Silhouette and Cricut. They're a little bit different. They're a lot bigger. And I'm assuming that that's because the machine is reading things here. I apologize for the noise. It gets really loud in here when it rains. We have the bars that it reads for registration. This is just the regular cutting mat. They also have a scanning mat. Now, if you have a Brother Scan and Cut, stand up and dance because you have the machine that does the best scanning. Okay? This is the scanning mat. You can put something in here. Say you have a drawing of one of your kids did a little house or whatever. You can put it in here, scan it, and cut it out. This is an awesome feature that the Scan and Cut does better than anybody. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to scan things in and cut them, this is for you. Okay, I'm not showing you that today. I need to do some work on that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how to get a design into the software and to the machine, just like we did with the Silhouette and with the Cameo, to get you started so that you can get your first SVGs and put them in there and cut something and say, yay, I did it. The first cut is the hardest, okay? I had a lot of comments the last week about I have a machine and I haven't even taken it out because I'm afraid. I get that. I was too. I was too the first time. So I'm here to tell you the first cut is the hardest, and after that it gets easier. You're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. They're going to be big mistakes, maybe. That's okay, because the only one that's seeing those mistakes is you. Nobody else sees them. You should see the things that I do here. Okay, so I'm going to encourage you to get your machines out and try that first cut, whether it be Silhouette or Cricut or Brother Scan and Cut. You need to get it out and cut it, or the rest of my videos aren't going to be helpful to you. Okay? Let me look and see who's here. Hi, Sharon. Lenora, Monica, Bertie, Lee. Hi, you guys. Trying to see everybody else, but I can't see you. Okay, welcome. Okay, let's get started. Let me talk to you first about the blades. The blades on the Scan and Cut are a little bit different. They look a little different. They're a little bit different, but they basically do the same thing. They cut. They don't have specialty blades like the Cricut with the rotary blade and the really cool craft knife that rotate, or the Silhouette Cameo with the new rotary blade or the craft blade. They don't have those. They have these 2 blades, and then I believe the DX has an auto blade. I'm not sure if the CM does or not, but the DX has an auto blade. Now, a word on auto blades. I am not a fan of auto blades, only because when I give up control, that means in my brain I sometimes give up quality. So if you're going to use your auto blade, understand that it doesn't always work. I had my friend Margie here for the class that we did in November, and she had a Brother DX, I want to say 650. It was a really nice machine. It was the quietest machine I've ever heard in my life. I could stand next to it and sleep. I mean, it was just that quiet. And it was fast. But she was using the auto blade. And the auto blade worked pretty well for the marine vinyl, and it worked pretty well for the paper, but it didn't work on the vinyl at all. It cut straight through to the mat. So understand that your auto blades aren't always going to work, and you may have to tinker with them. You may have to, take that out and put in a regular blade to cut what you want to cut. Now these blades, the Brother Scan and Cut blades the whole process requires a little more tinkering than the other cutters, because we have presets with the other cutters. We have no presets in the software. So there's much more human error possible with not getting this set right. That being said, there's something called a test cut. For those of you in embroidery, you know what a test sew is? A test sew. And how I encourage you all with anybody's designs to always test sew before you put it on your final project. It's scary to me when people don't. You're going to run a little test cut. A little test cut is a little triangle, just to make sure that your blade is set correctly, your pressure is set correctly, the right material is on your mat. I can't encourage that enough with all three machines. Do your test cut. Do your test cut. Okay? So that's the blades. Now you have a deep cut and a regular blade. You're not going to be able to see this, but the deep cut blade sticks out way more. I might be able to show you here. This is the deep cut blade, and you can see it really is sticking out quite far. And this is the standard blade, and I've got it all the way out, and it doesn't stick out nearly as far on the 12. So deep cut blade, thicker things. Okay? Deep cut, deeper, thicker things. I'm going to turn this so that it's not slicing my fingers. Okay. Standard blade. Right now I have this all the way cranked up. I'm going to turn it down. Your standard blade will go past 1 to the negative and all the way over to the 12, which means you have no blade showing. I found I had to cut some things on almost 0 to make it work. And it will go all the way past the 12 to about 13. So just be aware. And then you have all the in-betweens. I know you can't see that on here, but you have all the in-betweens between 1, some of the settings say 1.5, so you're going to put your line, right in the middle between 1 and 2, and some say, 1 1/4, and you're going to have to fidget with it. There's a little more tinkering with these blades. But that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. Let me say this. If you have a Brother Scan and Cut, and you saw the other videos, and you think, wow, that Cricut or that Cameo is so much easier, I encourage you not to go out and buy a new machine. And the reason I say that is because you've got a good piece of equipment. You just need to learn how to use it, and it's just different. And it's going to require a little more patience. Don't run out and buy a new machine. Don't do it. There's no need to do that. Okay, I mean that sincerely. If I was going to buy a machine today, everything that I know about these machines, it would be a Cricut Maker if I did not own one. But I own Cameos, and I'm going to keep using them. And I own a Brother Scan and Cut, and I'm going to keep using it. It is what it is. They're all different, just like sewing machines. Okay? So let's go over to the software. And let's open our Brother software. And the Brother software looks much more simple than even the Cricut software. And I think the Cricut software is pretty simplistic. But this looks even simpler. Guys, that can be good and that can be bad. Simple can be good. The things that I like about the Brother software is this right here. See all these shapes? Cricut was very, very limited with shapes. Look at all these shapes. And if you want to do stickers and things like that, all these shapes. If you want to do any kind of, you can make just about anything with these shapes and with the ability to edit them. So, that's kind of cool. And then you have all these borders. If you like to make greeting cards, these borders are like, wow, cat's meow. You can put all these borders on the edge of your cards and make the coolest cards with these. We don't have these in Cameo or in Cricut. Okay, so this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. And then, of course, a bunch of built-in fonts. And I have to say that their built-in fonts, these fonts are much more fun than what I started with in the Cameo. So there are some really good things about this software. It's just not real powerful. Again, you can't edit down to the node and change things. So, that's a drawback. But there's a lot you can do with it. Okay? All right, so let's do this. Let's bring in a piece of artwork just like we did yesterday and the day before and see what happens. So I have a choice. I have an image in the computer or I have an image scanned by your machine. Remember I said you can put your image in here and scan it and do that? That's what they're talking about. Okay, so I'm going to say an image in the computer. And then again, I'm going to navigate to where all my things are, to where my shapes are. And I'm going to find my grad hat because that's what I did with all the other machines. And you can see the rendering here. Well, you might think, well, this rendering is kind of rough and the edges are kind of rough. But let's just, let's give it a chance here. We have some choices of trace outer edge only or trace areas by color. I'm going to do outer edge only just because that's the first one. And then it says number of colors. This says 5. Well, I don't see 5 colors here, so I'm going to change it down to as low as it'll let me go and say 2. Okay? And I'll say OK. Just that quick. Now, if I try to move this, it's not going to let me move it. It's going to say operation not allowed. The selected group includes locked objects. I'm going to say OK. So let's select that. And I'm going to go right over here to layers. And when I go to layers, I can see that this one here is locked. Okay? I'm going to unlock that and I'm going to turn it off. I don't care what the image looked like. I care what my traced piece looks like. Okay, so now if I want to move it, I can move it. Okay, it always throws it up in that upper left-hand corner, which is fine. Now if I right-click, I can choose ungroup or, hello, doesn't like that. Oh, there I go. Or I can go here to edit and, layer and find ungroup. I'm a big right-click girl. I like right-clicking. So I'm going to ungroup, just so that you know how to do it. I just want you to know how to do it. I'm going to come back here and group it up, because we don't need to ungroup it. We really don't. Okay, now I'll go back to my paintbrush and double-click on it, and now it gives me the option to put a fill color in. I work in color. I'm very visual. I'm a very visual person, so I work in color. So I like things to be filled up if they're not just lines. If they're lines, then I don't worry about it. So our design is done, basically. That's it. That's how hard it is to do a simple piece of artwork in the Scan and Cut. It's simple. So it's different, but it's simple. And once you know how to do it, it's really simple. Okay, so let's send it now to the cutter. I'm going to put my blade in first, so let's go over there. I'm going to put my blade in, and I'm going to guess that we're going to cut somewhere around a 4. I'm going to put my blade in, push it all the way down. Make sure that you take the cap off. Sometimes there's a cap, and when it ships, there's a cap right on here. Make sure you take the cap off or it won't fit, and you'll be going, what in the world? Push this down, and that locks your blade in. So that's locked in. We have a different screen on the Brother Scan and Cut. It's a much more interactive screen than the other cutters. So that's kind of cool. You can do some things that you can't do on the Cameo and the Silhouette. Okay, so now in the software, I'm going to send this over to the machine. I'm going to go to File, and here's my choices. I'm going to transfer FCM file via the internet. If I had a USB cable hooked up, I would go here, but I'm going to transfer it here. Okay? It says objects that have been sent are hidden. Okay, so it's saying that my artwork image is not transferred. I'm like, I'm okay with that. I don't need the artwork transferred at all. Registered machine is ready to download the transfer file from the internet. Okay. So now we'll go back over here to the machine, and I'm going to choose pattern, and I'm going to choose this button right here. It's got a little, you can't see it real well, but it's got a computer with a little cloud and dots going from it. And it's retrieving. And there's my design on the screen. Okay, now if I want it to cut right there, this is one of the cool things about the Brother Scan Cut. If I want it to cut right there, I can just leave it there. But what if I want to cut over here? I just drag it with my finger. I think that's cool. Or with the little stylus. They give you a stylus. I'm not a big stylus user. You can just drag it over here. You can drag it anywhere you want to put it. Just remember to put your vinyl in the same place. Okay, and say okay. Now we need to, here's where we do our cut settings. This is the pressure and the cut settings. And you'll need to do this for each type of material that you use because there are no presets. Let me say that again. There are no presets. Okay? Not a big deal, but it is what it is. Okay, so let me grab my iPad because this is where I keep my presets. And I have my presets from Karen for vinyl. Karen says blade 1.5.
Show them.
Now y'all can't see the blade because it's really tiny to see this, but I'm going to put it at about 1.5, between 1 and 2, and I'm going to slip it back in the machine. Okay, back to the machine. And then it says pressure 0. Okay, that's right here. The cut pressure is 0. Mine's at 0 because I was cutting earlier. And it says cut speed of a 3. This is a simple design, so that's fine. The draw speed and the draw pressure are for when you use pens. Okay? So that's that. All right, let's put some vinyl on our mat and let's see what happens. Kind of exciting, huh? Kind of exciting. Now I find that the Brother mats are not as sticky as the Cricut mats. I love, love, love the Cricut mats. They're not as sticky, so you really have to, you know, get them down there. They have a brayer that you can buy, and it's like a roller thing. It's over by my desk that you can roll on there, and it really rolls it down. Larry's bringing it over here.
That's what I'm for.
That's what Larry's for. You can roll this down on here to, you know, really encourage it to stick. It's handy. I use it for all my machines. Okay. So you have little raised edges here where the mat goes. You're going to slide. Maybe I should put it on the mat, huh? On the machine. Okay. You're going to just put the mat in just like we did with all the other machines, up against these two edges and against these little rollers, and hit this right here to load the mat. Now it's ready to go. Okay? It's all ready to go. So all I have to do is hit start. Okay? Here we go. Well, maybe not. Maybe I have to hit cut. Now I just hit start. Okay. I should be giving you hope. It's quieter. I think it's quieter than the Cameo and louder than the Cricut. Okay, it's finished cutting. Let's push the mat out. And again, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to turn it over, pull the mat off the vinyl. see what we got. It did not cut. Okay, so this is one of those things that I used settings and they didn't work. So this is that tinker part, that test part. I would normally just, test something, but, it's all in learning. So I'm going to take my blade out and I'm going to turn my blade. I'm going to change my blade to, I think the brother settings are 4, so I'm going to go there and see what happens. Let's see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? We waste a piece of vinyl, cut through the mat. Done that before. Okay. All right, back to the machine. I'm going to load it up. Now the nice thing is it's kept all the settings here that I set up. So now all I have to do is say I want to cut this and go. Okay, let's send out. Let's see how we did. I'm going to cut this. Ooh, it almost cut through the paper. Okay, so that's something you want to be aware of. It almost cut through the paper. I can feel it. I can feel little ridges in the paper. I don't know if you can see it. So if I was going to cut this again, I would change my blade probably to a 3 and give that a try. That's the tinkering part. That's the tinkering part. You look at it and you say, okay, you cut it, but kind of cut into the paper too. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to back my blade off a little bit, make a little lower number. Okay? It's not a big deal. You just have to learn it. All right, let's weed this guy and see what we got. Well, look at that. You gotta love it when it works. It cut just fine. And I want to tell you that it's a much cleaner cut than the Cricut scan. Much cleaner. Much cleaner. Very nice cut. I just backed off the blade a little bit because it was close to cutting through the paper. And then you have, other issues. So I backed off the blade a little bit. But it works. It works. You just have to be patient. You have to be patient with it. Okay, so the next thing is, how does it handle an SVG? Okay, we're going to find out. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to File, and I'm going to say New. Do I want to save the changes? No, but you can save. If you save your designs when you trace something, you can save it to your hard drive, which is, I think, awesome. You can save your hard drive. But I'm not going to save this because I don't need to save it. So now I'm going to go to this icon right here, the SVG icon. And I'll navigate to where my SVGs are, under my Cameo and my teaching stuff. And there's my grad cap. I'm going to grab this one. And there it is. Okay, but I'm going to take this and put it over here, and I want to see if it translates and comes into the cutter. Into the cutter in the place that I put it. Because remember with the Cricut, it just threw everything up into that upper left-hand corner. I want to see if this comes in spot number, square number 3 on the mat. Okay, so it's ready to go unless you want to change something. It's one layer because I created a compound path with it in the software. So that's okay. Now we're going to go to File and transfer file via the internet. The registered machine is ready to download the transferred file from the internet. Awesome. You gotta love it when it works. Pattern, same little icon over here. Hey, it did. It brought it in exactly where I put it. That's a big deal because if you have a bunch of things on your mat, you know, on your computer screen, if you have a bunch of things on your computer screen on that mat, and you want to place 6 pieces of 3-inch by 3-inch vinyl on your mat and cut things in specific spots, you don't have to go through the hoops that you have to with the Cricut, and I'm going to teach you that later. But you don't have to jump through the hoops. You can also, with the Brother, if you want to cut little pieces, you know, little 1-inch pieces, you can put your 1-inch pieces, your mat in here, and you can scan it and know exactly where those pieces are to put your designs. It's really kind of cool. The scanning is the absolute best feature of the Brother Scan and Cut. And I'm glad I have one for that reason, because I'm probably going to utilize that and do some cool stuff. Okay, so I'm putting my vinyl on my mat again. I believe they have a heavy stick mat as well. I believe they do. I just have the standard mat. Okay, over to the machine. Put this in. Load my mat. Okay, now I'm going to say, okay, this is the design I want. Let's go back. I'm going to move it because I'm not going to waste the vinyl. Okay. And let's check our settings. It held our cut pressure of 0. So know that if you cut vinyl and then you cut felt and you change your settings and then you go back to cut vinyl, it's not going to hold the settings because you changed them. Okay, you changed them. You have to change them. So just know that. Okay, so the cut pressure is at 0. I changed my blade to 3. So we're going to see how 3 cuts. So I'm going to say okay, and we're going to cut and go. Okay, we're done. Turn it over, pull it off. And let's see what we've got. Okay. Perfect cut. Perfect cut. I will say that though this is smoother than the Cricut, it's not as clean as the Silhouette SVG file. So just know that. But it cut, and this one did not cut through the paper. It wasn't even close to cutting through the paper. So what I would do at this point is this. I would go and get that resource graph from the link that we're going to put up for you. I would go get that, and then I would add to that graph Oracal, if that's what you're cutting, which is what I'm cutting, Oracal 651, and put my blade depth in there of 3 and my pressure of 0 with a standard blade. Now you've got an ongoing resource for you, kind of like a cutter's Bible, you know, so that you have that resource, because you're not going to remember. You won't remember. That's just, you know, the nature of things. But that's getting a design to the Brother Scan and Cut and dealing with things not cutting. What do I do when they don't cut? Well, did it cut too deep? Did it not cut at all? If it cut too deep, lower the number on the blade. If it didn't cut at all, raise the number just by a little. And you can also add some cut pressure. The pressure is pressure. How hard that blade pushes down into your medium that you're cutting. The blade depth is how far the blade sticks out from the blade. And that's the same on all the machines. They're just called different things. They're just referred to as different things. Okay, I'm looking to see if anybody has any questions. Maybe. Oh, there we are. Hey, Karen. I'm sure I'll get a full critique later. Hey, Lori. Donna, Sarah, Eileen, Crystal, wow. Kathy. I have a DX255 and wonder if these issues you are stating regarding the blades are also an issue with the DC225. You know, I'm guessing that the blades are the same other than the auto blade. The Margie in my class had all of these issues. You know, but yet we had similar issues with the Cameo. You're going to have to tinker. You're just going to tinker a little bit more with the brother. But again, that's okay. It's okay if you have the brother and you know that, because you can deal with what you know. You can deal with what you know. Absolutely. Hey, Helen. Hi, Joyce. Oh my gosh. Joyce says, my Cameo has been in the box for 4 years and I'm so excited to watch you teach us. Awesome. Hi, Lenora. Renee. Hey, Dot. Millie, good to see you. Sharon. Heather. Got an LOL from Karen. That's cool. Okay, so that's the simple process of getting a design from your computer to the scan and cut. Now, I did it via Bluetooth. You may want to do it with USB. And if you do, you choose the one that says send via USB. Okay? It just depends on what you choose. So, you can get all kinds of designs for all of your cutting machines at artisticcutworks.com. We have all kinds of resources there. There's videos, there's designs, resources, and videos is what I'm told to say. Okay? Here's my question. Oh, if you're viewing this on Facebook, put the comments below. And I do read them. Guys, you guys know that I've been reading them and answering you. And some things will probably be answered in videos, and some things will be answered right on Facebook. Okay, so please do that. Get in there and put your comments in there. Tell me what you liked, what you didn't like. If I was wrong about something, tell me. I need to know, because I'm a work in process. Okay, so if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the subscribe button down below and hit the bell so that you get notified of the latest video that we put up. And put some comments in there if you have some comments. Design, or question for the day. Question for the day. Are you creating your own designs, or do you just want to download SVG designs from my website and other places? Do you want to create your own designs, or just download them from my website and other designs, or both? That's the question for the day. I got some great answers yesterday. Okay, guys, I had fun. Thanks for being patient with me when things don't go right. I will definitely see you tomorrow.